episode 127, Joel Fleischman Happy Hour podcast. We have Joel Fleischman and Taylor Jannsen, head coach at Carroll University here.
I'm so excited for this. Happy March Madness. Cheers.
Cheers. I got a water, but we'll go.
As a D3 college coach would, right? He's like drinking water. So I got some peptides in him, did some CrossFit this morning. We had a wonderful conversation for the last 10 minutes. We were deep into hoops, instantly connection on hoops. So, but yeah, if you could see him, if you're listening in, yeah, he looks like like everybody's D3 coach, like the try hard, busting your balls, hoopster dude. Like he looks like that dude wearing the Carroll polo. You know? I asked him what he does outside basketball, and he's like, and he goes, well, yeah, I'm a dad. Okay, we got a hoopster here. We got a gym rat.
Yes.
That fair?
That's fair. I mean, the guys this year on our team, they would joke with me frequently and say my diet consisted of coffee and kale. Yeah. And I would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
So
and
you're
I'm walking.
You're the Carroll College of
That's
David
exactly
Goggins?
what they would call me. And it's like, no, guys, like, I mean, I definitely get up early and definitely take the dogs for the walk, but they would say you probably walk them with kettlebells in your hands. And like, no, I mean, I take the dogs for the walk in the morning. But
Who's going to row the boat? Who's going to row the boat? Did they ask you that? Who's going to carry the log?
Yeah, that's
You hear that?
Goggins. Yep. No, that's an ongoing joke. You're carrying it on. The guys will be happy if they listen to this.
Appreciate shout out to all the guys at Carroll.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Taylor's been the head coach for 2 years. I had an interim year as well, too, there. Played at Carroll, actually coached him his junior year. So we had that relationship since, I think, summer of 2009, so it's been going on a while. But Taylor's...
So you're a Carroll guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alumni.
Yep.
What year did you graduate?
2011.
All right, so what were your stats? What'd you do?
You kind of already said it. I was a try hard. I took charges. Like I probably only shot if I was wide open. Definitely could. I mean, Marcus should probably be the person who's explaining it a little better. I just try to make the right play.
If we're talking like 2K and we had to create a player, like handles would probably be like a 90.
Oh wow.
Passing probably be like a 91. Shooting, the rest of that we'll talk on that later.
And then you get past the rookie mode and you're like, oh, this guy's not good. I gotta upgrade. Dad, can I have $20 to upgrade this guy?
No, but a good defender. Again, like taking charges. I mean, again, commitment level was. I mean, you could see why he's a coach because the commitment level was always there.
Non-Power 5 D3 in Wisconsin, right? Like I kind of call it that, right? The non-Power 5 guys, which is kind of a running joke for me, but right. I mean, you're gonna have a guy that they're always missing something, right? They're missing it. They don't have the 5 tools. They got a couple tools in the belt, but a couple of them just don't work quite right.
For sure.
Just how God made you. So God bless all of you that play low-level D3. Amazing to me. Just amazing. So. Yeah.
And then you used to run Performance Max training.
No, Brian Donaldson didn't go to Carroll, right?
No, he went to Concordia, but I know Brian well.
Carroll and Concordia is like, I've never been able to. I know it's totally different apples and oranges, but you do know Donaldson a little bit?
Yeah, I know Brian.
Oh, geez. We should have had him at the same time.
Too, right?
Yeah, very close to Brian. Yeah, I love Brian. Shout out to him. God bless him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he always comes and he actually speaks a lot about his faith because I encourage that when they come and speak to the kids. So he's always very open about his faith. And yeah, similar guy. He started at Concordia, like the 15th man at Concordia, which I'm like, okay, so you were like low-level intramural dude? Yeah. And then he worked his way up to like a 6-man his senior year. So that's a true grinder. So always tells great stories. That's inspiring to any kid, right? Them are just great stories. Yep. We just talked about Joe Chapman. He said, everyone has potential. And it may not be D1 potential, but you have potential, and we're just trying to tap into it.
Yeah, no, I think that's any leader, any coach. Like you're trying to bring out the best in the people that you get to lead, and there's a lot of ways to do it, and there's a lot of different leadership philosophies, and just like in basketball, there's a lot of ways to play. There's a lot of ways to have success, and in talking to Marcus a little bit, just going way back with him, and he's talked about you and this company before, and even just before the show when we were having a conversation, just the way that you think about things, the way this company thinks about things, and I'm excited to be here and talk further about some of that stuff with you, just because I think it's I think there's so many ways to do things, and I think ultimately, though, when you're in a leadership position, it's about bringing out the best in people and, and maximizing their potential, to your point.
I also like finding basketball, which one of the zillion reasons I love it, is maximizing who you are and who you aren't. One of my favorite stories is that we have a kid in Kewaskum, I've coached him, named Mouse. He is an 8th grader, and he must be 5'1", 85 pounds. And he's always been that size, and his parents are that size, and he loves hoops. So I call him Mouse since about 5th grade. And I could tell it kind of bothered him. I said, I know, you know why I call you Mouse? And it actually really bothered his parents. They actually asked me about it. I said, Mouse didn't tell you why I call him Mouse? He's like, no, because you call him on the court that I'm just, a little bit, Dad's like 5'5", like little Napoleon on me. Like, what's going on here? I'm like, he didn't tell you? Have you heard this story already?
No.
I feel like, okay, so
Nope.
This is good. I mean, this is good for everybody, right? It's so I'll ask both of you, right? So if an elephant and a mouse play one-on-one on basketball, who wins?
I would instantly go to the elephant, but I'm guessing there's a catch there.
That's where I would go to.
Yeah. No, it's whoever is themselves. If an elephant tries to play like a mouse and dribbles around and plays low to the ball and tries to out-hustle you and gets up down the court faster, it's going to lose like crazy. But if the mouse for 1 second tries to muscle up the elephant and play tall, a mouse wins 100% of the time, guys, if it just dribbles around and gets up and down the court, and the second that elephant drops that ball, steals it and goes, huge advantage to be that quick mouse, right? So a mouse needs to be a mouse, and a darn elephant, go get me some boards, go do your thing. So kind of like follow your strengths is where that goes. Like however God made you, embrace that. It doesn't mean a 6'5" guy's got to post up like the 1940s, but it does mean like if God did make you non-athletic, but you love hoops, but you are 6'2" and a football dude, then be a football dude.
Yeah.
Right? Be the football dude. Like embrace the football dude. Like set good picks. Be that rebounder. Get other people open. Like embrace it and be the elephant. But dang it, be the mouse if you want to be the mouse. So I've always told mouse, you play tougher, you play faster, you get every 50-50 ball and play lower. Like if you think you're playing low now, get lower. Dribble faster. When that guy posts up, get right underneath him. I said it'll be so uncomfortable because elephants don't like playing against mice.
Right.
But they'll kill a mouse when the mouse tries to man them up.
Sure.
We got an open coaching position at Carroll. I don't know if you're interested.
Well, if we're going to run the system, are we going to run Grinnell? I'll run the system for you. You sign me up.
So I want to get.
Let's do it.
We were just talking about that before we got on
I'm
here.
looking for this. I'm looking for somebody to run the system with.
So
I want to run it in high school.
So Grinnell runs a system, has for a long time. It's kind of, I think, changed a little bit recently with the younger son taking over, but Greenville in Southern Illinois runs it as well. I think traditional system. And it is,
Greenville has adopted the original system. I'm not even aware of that. Okay, and you play Greenville?
We played Greenville the last 2 years.
How'd you do?
Last year, I think we won by 20. This year, I think we won by 25. It was, I think 131 to 113.
And what are you usually throwing up?
80.
Yeah, okay.
80. And then this year was 130 to 107. Right. And I think the thing that's interesting now, and I think it's
let's go take a step back for somebody that has no clue what the system is. Go ahead, Taylor.
Yeah, no, I mean it's just it's a numbers game, really. At the end of the day, is that they're trying to maximize the volume of shots that they're getting. And for a while, and this is where I was kind of going with it a little bit, is that for a while everybody just took twos against them, right? And that they were going to say that, if we can force you to this percentage of twos, we're going to take X amount of threes, right. We're going to get offensive rebounds, we're going to get turnovers, and if we can get X amount of shots, and I don't know exactly what the numbers are and how they deemed all the metrics, but
right. Just to break it down, right? It's a system which is really predicated on math. They ran like 5,000 different games in a pool, was it before AI, in a spreadsheet, and said if you do these 5 things, you will win 95% of all games, no matter your talent, your skill, which was you need to win the turnover game, thus you get more shots. So you need to win the shot differential game. You need to be equal or better in rebounds, which is the same thing. Again, more ball possessions. So, and then you need to shoot threes instead of twos, because there's math there.
The effective field goal percentage part of it. Like if you shoot 33%.
Effective field goal, they're chasing effective field goal percentage. So there's like 5 different metrics, and I don't have them all down to myself either. 5 different metrics if you do that with 95% of the time. So thus, based on the metrics, they're like, well, how do we do that? So it was, and I don't know if Greenville does the traditional, but it was double team the ball, man-to-man, ruthless man-to-man, double team the ball. That way you are just forcing the situation and making people really uncomfortable, and can they keep up? And then not giving up the 2, but demanding they shoot in 7 seconds, and then we shoot in 7 seconds to force the play and force the hand and just make them think different. And then understanding all those little consequences that came from it, and then developed it. Did I say that right?
It's very, I think that's accurate. And I think the thing about now that I think is a little bit different than even 10, 15 years ago is like everybody's kind of shifted that way. Like teams are shooting more threes. Like we took a ton of threes. I want to even say we took 14 threes, I think, against them or we made 14 threes. Like we took 30. Yeah, we were 14 to 30 this year.
And I'm sure they were mad at that because they want to run you off the line,
exactly,
right? They want to run you
like,
off the line.
And then we were very comfortable if they were going to put 2 on the ball. Now, all right, we know we're playing first pass out. We're playing a 4-on-3, and we're going to take advantage of that advantage. We're not going to pull the ball back out and let them keep trapping. Like we're going to punish the pressure and punish the trap. So like, I think Grinnell is actually a little bit dialed it back where, I think Coach Arsenal even talks about it. I've listened to him on a podcast. So I'm fascinated by it just because of the mentality. Like you said, I think there's something to be said about just people who see things different, who are trying to maximize the people that they have.
When I watched Grinnell, too, they weren't sprinting. I don't know if Greenville does. Like, part of it is they want you to ball out for 90 seconds. And it's a little bit like life. Like, who actually ever sprints on anything? Like, they want you in for 90 seconds and literally sprint. And it is a difference. I mean, you're a head coach. I mean, I've had kids sprint, right? And then I'm like, sprint. I don't know if you ever did this in a drill. This is great for youth coaching. I've had a kid, I would tell all the kids in a camp, reach as tall as you can. Like, as tall as you guys can. Give me everything you got in reach. And then I said, now give me another inch. And they all can do it.
Yeah.
I said, see, this is my job to get you to do that inch. But man, you got to go. You got to believe in yourself. And I said, I bet you could even give me another inch if I really asked you to it. We talked about Joe Chapman. He does that. He sees how many dribbles it takes to go full length.
Yep.
He'll start with 4, then he goes to 3, then he goes to 2, and then he goes to 1. The kids are losing their mind, right? Because they got to play like Giannis. And then a kid can pull it off, and he's like, see, it can be done.
That mental barrier.
So that's that system too, where you can another team play balls out that long, that hard, that fast. And I think it's fascinating in high school because there's no time to scout for it. You're playing 2 games a week, and those kids wouldn't have that mentality, right? They may not. And I'm surprised it hasn't been done in high school, but it's so risky because when you get, part of the system is entertainment, which is interesting. That's a great thing that I don't think Grinnell embraces much anymore because, again, it's been out so long for that program and in the Midwest region. But in high school, it's entertainment. We're going to set scoring records. Like, you're going to look at the top 10 individual scoring nights in Wisconsin in high school, and you're going to see either we play. They said it's a circus comes to town. Yeah, somebody in Carroll is going to set the scoring record, and we're okay with that. Congratulations, you did it. And they're going to bash you. Like, you're going to be the joke of the conference. They're like, well, your guys aren't all conference. Yeah, they set scoring, but I can't do it because it's just your system. So no one has the balls to do it. It is just stone ball. If you run that program, to anybody listening, that is stone balls. Good for you because the traditional teams are going to – traditional coaches, at least WI coaches in Wisconsin, they're very – like, they all run the same sets. I've been to a million high school games, at least in this area. Same sets. They all evolve at the same time. They're doing the same inbound plays. And then they all congratulate each other that we do the same thing. Well, the way you do that is really good. You run a professional program. It's like, yeah, well, that's because of what you do, right?
Yeah, and it's interesting.
Kind of self-serving.
And I think the high school part of it, and you like you were kind of saying, you have to have depth. So, that's the one thing. I mean, they play – I think I won't even say they play 20 guys.
They want 20.
Like,
they want 20.
They want to go 4 line changes. Yeah. So, like, the depth part of it. But, like, you also get a player development element, too. If guys know they're going to be –
That's where I'm at. But you play your role. So, like, what I would do in high school is I'd play 15. And this is back to Hurley. I do a jersey night. Like, this is what a lot of high schools don't do. Maybe D1 guys do, but not these lower programs that don't have the kids. I do jersey night and say, these are your 15 jerseys. And them last 3 or 4 kids – I'm shipping them down to JV, and I'm bringing up a JV kid and saying, you didn't earn the jersey, you're out, right? But them last 4 or 5 guys that we're D3, D2, right? D4 programs, you just don't have the depth. But you just tell them, you're not my shooter this year, but you are giving me 90 seconds of hell. I know you can give that, and you will not turn the ball over, right? Or again, you're back to JV. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
Like that last 4 guys, they're just fighting. Like they're just dogs, right? But you're not my shooter. Like, it's not that 3-point thing. That's earned. Stripes are earned, man. Shots are earned. Yeah, and that's been forgotten about. That's been forgotten about.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I think that's a fine line in coaching too, because there's a layer of like how much confidence do you give a player versus, like, I know, one thing Marcus would say, and I remember Coach Buchanan would say, it's smart wins, right? You can't beat yourself, like, but like there's also a side of it too where if you got everybody playing like this because they just don't have the confidence to go make a play, or they're not playing with that fearless edge.
I've seen that.
It's a fascinating, it's a predicament. And I battle with it as a coach because I probably lean more on the side of giving guys confidence and us playing free and us playing with a sense of confidence. But to your point, like, where's that line? Because if you got guys who maybe haven't earned it, like, do you tell them not to shoot? Do you tell them, hey, you're only going to do A, B, and C? And I think you have to do that to some degree. I think it's part of a job as a coach is you have to have the ability, and you can't be afraid to find roles, because I think in any team you have to have something that, again, you lean into your strengths.
That's why I love metrics. Because I believe in you, Taylor, more than you believe in yourself. I believe you're one of the better kids in the program. I believe that you can make threes. Here's my raw metrics on you, the last 3 games or in practice. I think, and again, we probably do it in college, but in high school, there's not enough metrics.
In practice.
There's not enough coaching. There's not enough time. But, like, from this spot, you're 23%.
Right.
Don't tell me you practiced it all summer. Your shot's broke. I believe in you. I know when you're in, you're going to make it from there. I don't want you that shot. Where I want you, from here, you're 78%. Get this range, left, right hand, do whatever the hell you want. And again, I love it. Unless you're a senior, next year I want you shooting that shot. Right? I believe in you, but let's go back to metrics. And I'm putting you on JV today. I believe in you. But you had 3 kind of knucklehead turnovers. You're going to come back up. You're going to learn on JV. You're going to minimize your metrics and then come back up and see me. Right? We good, knuckles out. Right? Now we got cleared. And honestly, for anybody listening, what's being lost in high school right now, too, to a lot of degree, everything I say to the kid, I get to send to the parents. Because there's that helicopter mom. The influence is so much stronger than when I was a kid. Whatever I just said, it's like a recording, and I'm sending them the frickin' cliff notes, because I don't need that crap at the supper table being regurgitated. And kids will do that, right?
Right?
Well, no, I don't think it's the phone. It's the kids are setting those parents up of like, well, this is what coach said I can't shoot anymore.
Yeah, it's a game. It's a bad game of telephone.
Oh,
it's
it is,
really
and that parent maybe, and again, most parents aren't going to actually call the coach, right? Some will, very few, and that drives you nuts when they do. But they're going to give them feedback. No. You shoot when you're open, bud. You got that shot. Well, that's not what coach said. Well, you got to think.
You were in the gym this summer. You were,
Yeah. You worked just as hard as Billy. Billy's 0 for 7 last threes. I don't know. He must just like them. You know how that is. I'm sending you a cliff notes of what we did. Yeah. I know that takes a tremendous amount more time, and you get pushed back on that, but sorry, I'm way off base.
I actually listened to that on a podcast.
I said I wasn't going to talk much, and here we are. I get so pissed. I get fired up, man.
I actually sent him a podcast of a couple coaches the other day that were talking about that as well too, where it's like, there's a big strong influence of like letting the parents know of what's going on in the program, just like what's happening with the kids, so you can kind of just, again, communication, you always communicate more, right? And like you say, right, famously, where it's like the less you communicate, or when there's gaps in communication, it's always full with negativity.
Always.
Right? So,
I have if I run a program in high school, I'm meeting with the parents very, very first night, one-on-one. This is what I need out of Billy this year. Again, that expectations, good or bad or indifferent. I don't know what you think. This is where I see him. And then we're going to do an exit interview, not just with seniors, not token, not because the administration needs it. Like, parents, you're going to come in. We're going to sit down. If Jimmy wants to be who he thinks he wants to be. I love this. I just read this. This is great. It's not about goals. Don't tell me your goals. Tell me your commitments. So you want to be first team all conference? Cool. You want to be all American? Cool. You want to help us win, get to the regionals? Cool. What are you committed to? Goals are goals. I could give 2 craps. Right. That's a great goal. I love it for you. What are you committed to? You going to do 5 a.m. workouts? You're going to roll the boat? You're going to eat kale? Like, where's your nutrition at? Where's your workouts at? Where's your, what are you going to do? I want to be a great 3-point shooter. You shooting 500 a day?
Yeah, no, we use that same sentiment. I mean, and James, it's a James Clear quote. I'm sure you've heard it, but you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your system. And I think
awesome.
that's
Jocko.
Jocko's
still that.
Jocko, James, whoever it is. Like, these quotes all just get regurgitated.
They're all good, man.
Yeah, they're all good.
That's why they get regurgitated, because they're good.
Goals,
I would say cliches are cliche because they're good.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Right.
No, I mean, goals give you direction, but it's about your commitments, it's about your habits, it's about your routines, and it's a fascinating conversation. I think there's so much, there's so many things you can go off of what you just talked about. I mean, whether do you coach to the player's strengths? What percentage in your player development, or in just in an organization, how far do you lean into somebody's strengths, like before you address their weaknesses? Are their weaknesses inhibiting them so much that their strengths can't come to the surface? Like, I just think all the things you were just discussing, and clear communication, like, clear is kind, right? That's another one of those cliches or quotes that I've heard before, and I've heard and are we talking business,
or are we talking fatherhood, or are we talking basketball?
Everything. It doesn't even matter.
Right? Everything you just said is like everything, right?
I think we've really tried to take pride in it. And I'll be honest, one thing that I did not know how to do was be on the other side of recruiting when I got into this. But the more and more I go about it, is like, we're going to be really, really transparent with the kid about where they're at as of today, how we see them, what their development plan is in our minds right now. And then we're also going to have that same exact conversation with the parents. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, when we're meeting in that room, it's not about like, hey, we love you. Yeah, like it just can't be. It can't be a honeymoon phase. Okay,
let's do this, right? We're a average dude in an average town. I'm averaging. Right, I was on JV last year. I'm coming into varsity. I'd like to have hopes of playing varsity someday. I'm a junior. I average 12 points a game, but I want to play somewhere in college. Like, tell me what it takes for you to wake up and being like, we got to call this dude. Like, what is that? What are you looking at? You're looking at, like, how do you find dudes? Like, what? Like I'm thinking, like, if I'm talking to the kids that I've coached all these years, and they're listening, Charlie Gambino, my son Marcus, Jackson Corbin, Chase Cook, a bunch of dudes at Kewaskum, right? Little D3 program, and they're like, I want to play in college someday. Like, there's two questions. What does it take, and then what are you looking for? Like, is it stats? Does a coach call you, send you a video every day 27 times, attend all your camps, have dad send you a video, have mom Facebook you?
Well, I'll tell you the most...
last one's probably not, but, good stuff.
The most... What I've found so far, and I'm sure you could probably poll a lot of people and they would have different answers for you.
That's why I'm interested in yours.
I found that a coach reaching out personally about the kid, that speaks volumes. Whether it's an AAU coach or whether high school, I don't really care. Right. But if someone who's coaching that kid
puts a neck out,
like is willing to reach out and send not a canned copy and paste message to like
YouTube message,
a real message, like and then I think the second thing is that the kid does the same thing. Like, if the kid is proactive about it, and it's a really fine line, because you can get some emails, you can get some messages from kids that are very self-promotional, and you're like, well, does this kid care about stats or does he care about winning? But you kind of need to share the stats a little bit to be like, okay, he is good enough, or maybe he has a chance to be good enough. We'll go evaluate him. But I guess to answer your question in a simple way, anytime a coach reaches out, we're always at least going to respond. We're always at least going to do our own homework and due diligence to see if that kid is potentially a fit. If it's a parent, calling 6 times, usually not. We get a lot. I mean, I'm telling you, like, probably I would say 15 to 20 emails on every day. Maybe 20 would be a stretch every day, but I would say 15 is probably realistic, of just random. I wouldn't say year round, but like there's times of year like right now where everybody's searching to kind of
just like figuring stuff out.
Yeah, I mean, 2026s want to get on recruiting lists, and 2025s are like they're trying to find a school and find a home.
They're panicking. They're like time's up.
But it's like it's all copy and paste, and it's you can tell it's copy and paste.
Yeah, like they just went to every D3 college in the Midwest.
It's not sincere, and that part of it to me is like, okay, well, like how committed to this are you really?
Because you can't sort through every one of them.
Yeah, no, you can't. So like we don't respond to a lot of those. But anytime a coach reaches out personally, and if a kid really puts the time in, and you can tell that they act, and you know when you read something,
tears in their eyes are just like I did at least looked at your website, at least understand your game, I know your name.
Totally. So that I guess that's how it is.
So the game is predicated so much on 3-pointers.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a 7th grade kid again. My son's going to be a sophomore. I'm going to be a junior. What would you say is a good summer routine? How many threes should they be putting up a day? Shots. Again, it's not always about sitting at the 3-point line. It's a lot about shooting. I always say to be a good golfer, there's a lot of chipping and putting. There's a lot of 2-foot, but disciplined either by time or by shots. What would you expect as a D3 coach?
Well, we could go a lot of different routes with this, because I think there's so
I mean disciplined shooting, like sweating and actually shooting shots.
So I think there's such a complexity with player development, though. Like, because I think the game has gotten
beer number 2. This is good.
The game
has been a week too. It's been a week.
So far down there's so, and I was in it. I was in the business of player development, where like you do individual workouts and guys are working on stuff on their own. You can even go on a shooting gun. You could shoot 500 shots.
Ryan Borowitz, Borowitz stuff's. Sorry, Ryan, if you're listening. That stuff's nutty. Like, these guys stuff like this kid shot 400,000 shots with us in the last. He's in 7th grade. I'm like. I'm doing the math. I'm like, does the dude sleep?
And I think
and then like his little gym, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's like
the driveway.
These little like batting cages where they just shoot. I'm like, these guys are like Nazis. It's crazy. It's a culture. But hey, he's got.
But if you get the kids to love it and you get them to come back, and you get them to, but the complexity in it
there are kids definitely in that gym that do not love it, because that's nuts. Sorry. True. Some dads being like, shoot. It's crazy.
You sports are never going out of business. But
oh man,
the complexity in it that I was saying is like, you could shoot 500 shots on a gun or a dish or a machine, whatever, and you could do it with great intensity. But like the second you get in a game, think about how many variables there are, right? Like even just as simple as a contest. Now you're shooting over a hand, but it's like, is this the right shot? What's the time and score? Like, what's my heart rate at? Like, I mean, there's you could start talking about all these different factors. At the end of the day, I think there's a place for like block repetitive shooting practice where you're talking about repetitions. And then I think you have to climb the ladder a little bit to some variability where, you might be shooting a shot sprinting to your right, then shooting a shot sprinting to your left, and then you might ball fake, keep a 3 of 3. But then you ultimately have to get to actual decision making, right? It's like, it's perception action, right? Like you have to be able to make a decision, right? Like everybody can do the action. You probably can think of kids right now that you've coached that they can grab 2 basketballs, they can grab 1 basketball, they can do a crazy ball handling routine. When they get in a game and somebody traps them, it's like, oh, the ball's off their knee, they're throwing it to the wrong team. Like it's that part of it where, so I think.
But I still think you have to have the skill to get up to that point, right? If you have a good fundamental shot and a confidence.
There's a balance.
But I'm just saying, I'm trying to like pin you down of like, where I'm trying to go with it, and I don't think kids understand how hard they're supposed to work. Like, what would you be like if you were like, again, Jimmy comes up to you, little Billy, and he's like, well, how hard should I work, coach? Like, what does that look like? Like, is there's driveway time? Like, what would you expect for like a high school kid to put work in? I mean, outside of let's assume I don't know if they do AAU or not, but like what does driveway time look like?
I think, to me, I've always believed that if you can do to put a time on it, I don't know if there's an exact time, but I would say 45 minutes. If you are really, really going at it, you can get a lot done in that time. I mean, we're talking, you could get a little bit of ball handling, you could get a little bit of finishing work in. You could find a wall and you could work your passing. You could get plenty of shooting in.
It's so complicated though. You can go to the YMCA for 8 hours, playing with a bunch of old knuckleheads, and get worse. Correct. So it's a complicated, loaded question.
But the weight room would be one thing that I would say, though, too, like to all this. Like, I don't think a lot of high schoolers spend enough time with a structured, solid weight room.
No,
program.
I mean, well, if you look at the divisions, right, we're talking WA state basketball. D1, you can tell it's mandatory. Like, don't come out if you haven't been in this weight room for 4 years, maybe 5 in 8th grade. D2 gets a little lighter. By D5, there's a bunch of dudes that never seen a weight in their life, right? Yeah, I mean, that's got to be.
Or they have hired strength coaches and they have facilities. Like, there's
that's like, no, D1 dudes are like, D1 dudes are like zero class they do. Like, it's every day. It's not even mandatory. It's just what we do. Yep. And I think every D1 program basically embraced that. The Germantowns, the Homesteads, whatever. Right? Like, that's just what they do. I think that there's a catch-up process of them D2, D3, D4 schools where guys are like, yeah, dude, I don't lift that much, or I go to a couple of workouts. Like, man, that advantage that those better teams have, going to 1 million high school games of lifting or going to a Carroll, huge. That 10, 15 pounds of strength, man, totally. Especially for dudes 6'5" and under. And it's game changer for guys 6'5" and over, because a lot of times they're just lanky, goofy guys that are, whatever. Like, man, them are game changers. That strength is a game changer.
100%.
Couldn't go back to writing the letter. So in 12 years of coaching college basketball, there were 2 guys that I ever saw that wrote a letter recruiting as a player. One of them was Mike Ron's kid, Taylor, who actually ended up playing for us at Marion.
Oh, that's crazy.
Which was, and it was the most sincere thing. Like, he had visited us and was like, thank you for taking the time to visit, and ended up committing shortly thereafter and started a lot of games as a freshman guard for us. But, like, that was, like, so far above and beyond, like, you know, again, the copy and paste email or whatever else, because it was sincere, right? Like, the kid took his time to send that out. I wanted to ask you a couple things. We're obviously talking a lot about habits here. Whatever got you to write Leave Better Than Found?
Oh my gosh, we got to talk about his book. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I got to do that.
I've read Leave Better Than Found, one of my Leave Better Than Found, one of my favorite books. But you also wrote Wisdom from the Rocking Chair as well, which I never read. Which I didn't actually know you did that one until I was looking it up.
Yeah, that's what I found on Amazon. Is this Leave Better Than Found on Amazon? They're both on Amazon. So, how many copies you sold?
Man, I honestly don't know. I mean, there was a stretch where
you wrote 2 books.
Yeah, the Wisdom from the Rocking Chair was a very much like...
Was that about your grandfather?
No, it had like a little bit of roots of everything, but that one was just a coaching philosophy. It was honestly for me just to clarify my thinking process and what I believed in, what mattered to me, and that's what Leave Better Than Found was too. And that one I have sold a pretty good amount of copies. I couldn't give you an exact number,
like
but
5 or like 5 million.
Not that many.
Like
no,
thousands?
I would
thousands?
yeah, definitely in the thousands.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Definitely in the thousands.
Good for you, man. Good for you. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
That's
thank
huge.
you. And so that
I'm
one,
reading it. I will read it.
Yeah, for sure.
That one was more of just like a life philosophy, and I actually listened to the podcast that you guys did with the president
Aaron
from
Segoff,
from Marion.
Sorry,
it's similar. It was similar kind of. It sounded like that's kind of how I wrote my book. It's meant to be really short, digestible, and I'll tell you what, like. I think I wrote that book 10 years ago. If I went back and read page by page, I probably think a little bit differently now, and I hope I do, right? If I'm not thinking a little bit differently, that's not good.
Things do change, you know?
2017?
Yeah.
I think
that's what people, a lot of people don't understand, like, mindset changes for everybody, right? Like, it's just where you're at in life, how you think in life, what you've learned, what you've relearned, right? Wisdom changes. I think that's a really healthy thing that you just said. I think that's an important thing you just said.
Yeah, and I think that's the – but at the end of the day, like, both books were written – just to clarify thinking, like, and just to help me process, my coaching philosophy, what was important to me in life. Because it ultimately, the first book I wrote I think I ended up publishing a few months after I had cancer. So that was just a weird time in my life. I want to say it was like a dark time or anything like that, because it wasn't like that. I think, I was able to keep a pretty healthy perspective. I had a lot of good support. Give me the cancer story. I was 25.
Dang.
Yeah, so I had testicular cancer. I probably went about it in not a super great way.
Because you were 25.
Yeah, I waited too long. I didn't. And
that's every 25-year-old ever, right?
It spread.
So what stage did you got? Like, how bad was it?
It didn't get to stage 2, but it was right on that cusp. So like it was.
Things were getting real.
Yeah. So I had to get chemo.
Wow, okay.
So I was 7 days on, 7 days off for chemo it was like a 3-month period. And it's not exactly that you're in there. There's some breaks in there too. But when you're in your intense bouts of it, it's 7 days on, 7 days off. I think they do it a little bit differently now. But like that was a perspective check. Like you're walking into a hospital.
How old are you now?
35.
35.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And I've actually had cancer 2 more times. Didn't have chemo on either time. They just surgically removed it. So
how has that impacted your life?
Honestly, it really hasn't.
How has it impacted your mindset?
A ton. So like just my daily living, it doesn't really.
Yeah. I mean, Tuesday nothing, but how has it impacted your mindset?
Yeah, I think the first time it just really made me look around a little bit more, and again just like clarify my thinking, and I think I definitely went further into. I don't like this. Positive sometimes gets a bad connotation, right? Like I think you hear the word positive, it's like, oh, it's just this fluffy word. But like, there's an unwavering optimism that you believe the best is yet to come. That like you're gonna be okay. You're gonna faithful. I know you're.
I call that faith.
Yeah, no, faith. I mean, like
you like the unwavering positivity is like the best is yet to come, and that's interesting. I just read that, and that may be the afterlife. Like the best is yet to come. Like your life might actually end and suck. Like you may never get out of the wheelchair. You may never get out of cancer. But the best is yet to come. Like you have to just be, God is good. He's put me through this for a reason. And someday, 1,000 lifetimes from now, in eternity, I'll be like, oh, duh, that's why. Keep going. You're on a rant. Go.
Yeah,
go.
no, that I guess so. So that's what I would say was probably the thing that maybe shifted the most. I think I've always been a pretty consistent guy. I've always been a person who tries to have great habits, and I've always felt like I've had a pretty good work ethic. But I think it really made me be more aware of my mentality on a day-to-day basis.
Do you feel like you're on borrowed time?
No, I don't. I mean, because and the reason why I say no is because like they told me it's just treatable, right? Like
right.
You know,
we have it the third time. I just was wondering if
and I think that they told me that there was a high risk that it's going to come back in the other one. Now my friends got all the jokes too, and they keep me honest. They keep me humble. Like the joke is like that first it was Powerball, now it's no balls. Like I mean, so like
my dad's favorite joke was when it was 1 degree below zero. He'd be like, yeah, it's 1 below. And then he had a guy with testicular cancer as a friend. He's like, Shelby's 1 below, right? That was always
two below.
He still sells that joke. So you can steal that one.
I'm sure my friends might. So yeah, I think I don't see it that way, but I guess in reality, like when you think about it, I guess we're kind of all on borrowed time. I mean,
for sure.
Tomorrow's not promised. I mean, who knows what's going to happen?
I gotta share this because I just read this and I love it because we just talk about this almost on every podcast. Average life expectancy, you get I would love to like do a website called this 4,000 weeks, but that might not resonate with you. This resonated with me. 70 summers. That's it. 70 July 4ths. Like. Dang. Like, and I'm 51.
You think you're like, I'm already this
well, then
far
I'm 51. I got 19 summers left.
Yeah.
19 July 4th, 19 July weekends, 19 up north trip. We go up north once a week, with my family. I've always done it. I got 19 more. If I'm blessed. Now, again, I might have 24 more or 23, but like, that's not a lot.
Yep.
That's not and one thing I thought about is like, we all have like aunts and uncles, right? All of us. And we have aunts and uncles that like, oh gosh, Christmas, you're like, okay, I gotta not talk to Aunt Betty, right? Like, I love you, Aunt Betty. I'm not you, other Aunt Bettys, right? So, and you kind of like go through the high wave, right? Haven't talked to her really since I was 10 at my 10-year-old party. Like, my aunts and uncles now are in their 70s and 80s. I probably only going to see them 4 or 5 times more in my life. I only see them once or twice a year. They're in their 80s. Like 4 or 5 times more, I probably can put down my styrofoam cup of whatever and my turkey and my stuffing and go talk to them. No matter how awkward it is,
right.
How much I'm
or how close you are, or whatever else, right? Like,
how close you are, how many years it's really been of being like, what's up?
Yep.
I'm going to go to your funeral. Like, then I'm going to act like I really care, but now you're alive and I don't really care. Right. I'm not going to tell you how much I appreciate you, and I'm not going to tell you, that it was awesome when I was 10, that the time you took me to the beach or took me to a game. I'm going to tell that at your funeral, which is pretty soon. I'm only going to see you 5 more times.
Yeah.
Have that conversation. Dang.
That's well said. Well said. Oof. Yeah. No, I'm not going to be able to build off that too much, but that's just, seriously that was very well said and very true, and I think that's hopefully anyone who's listening was listening closely to that, because I think that's advice that everybody needs to hear, and we all need to remember it.
Take that chance. Slow down. It's fleeting, man. We ain't gonna be here much longer.
Yeah.
And them kids playing ball. I've said this, we'll go back to basketball, right? I actually have told this 1,000 times to the youth. I always bring in kids that recently graduated, or I'll bring it, right? And I'll bring them and I have them come talk to the kids. And I said, we talk about time a lot, right? You're in 5th grade and you think you got all this time. But basketball career is 24 hours, right? And even when you're in 8th grade, you think you got all the time in the world. Freshmen always think they got all the time in the world. You know that. Dude, you're already at 10 o'clock.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know how close this is to tick-tock, tick-tock? Like, I don't think the seniors even know till, like, 5 games left. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, you're at 11:30, 11:45, 11:53. Like, that's it. Nobody's coming to see you. Nobody cares. And, like, 5 games, bro. Like, are you treating your game that you love, right? You I mean, anybody who plays at Carroll must love the game. Not because it's Carroll. I didn't mean it that way. Well, that came across wrong. Anyone that plays at D3,
at Division III level,
anyone that plays at D3 loves the game because they work so freaking hard, and it's just low results. I mean, low expectations as far as you're going to have 20,000 people stand. The clock is freaking ticking, man. Mm-hmm. The clock is ticking.
Yeah.
Like when you're in 6th grade, you're already at like 5 o'clock.
That's what I always liked.
Like, and you're not going to get that much better. Like, you can't go like junior year. We're going to win state this year. What would you guys do this year? Or like 500. Like, so you're going to win state, you and your buddies.
Right.
And what are you going to do? Oh, we're going to do summer ball, and then we're going to lift a little, and then, you know, you shoot a lot at the park. And you're going to win state. Okay, dude, cool. You know how many teams said that? How many players have said that? How many decades that goes on? How many thousands of kids in the state are saying that?
Yeah.
Are you going to work harder, like crazy harder? Like, have you been working harder? Because it's too late. It's like too late. I have those kids tell the story, like, what could you do different? And every kid says, I would have worked harder. Yep. I didn't know. I didn't know the clock was ticking.
Yeah.
I've seen some schools.
Ding, ding. It's regional finals, and it's ding, ding, and you're out.
Right.
I've seen some schools do it where, again, it's kind of gimmicky, you know, but you have like a glass jar of, 100 marbles, right, for 25 games a year in college, and you take one out after each game. You know, but again, it's just that visual perception that you see it, right, as opposed to...
Put in every kid's locker room. Put in every locker room for the kid's career.
Right.
Yeah, I like that.
You just take one out, and that's what it is. And again, that's without injury, right, going back to like a life-death thing, right? Like, you don't know if...
So I keep marbles at my bathroom sink, right?
No.
So I got... you didn't know that?
No.
So I started this when my son was about 12. I got a marble for every single Saturday until he was 18. You know, I have two older kids, and they're 21. But I thought, boy, my youngest, once they're 18, it's kind of over being a dad. I mean, now you check in, you do the wave, and God bless you, and we do stuff. And I'm still very close to my older kids, but that's kind of it. So I got all the marbles, and I put them in a jar, and every Saturday I take one out, and I'm down to 100 and about 30 penny. I moved them into pennies now. I got 130 pennies with my 15-year-old and my other kids too. And I rub them. I rub it every Saturday. I'm blessed to have this Saturday, right? I'm blessed to have this Saturday, and I'm going to spend it with my kid as much as I can, because I am, just like I am in this podcast, I am a squirrel, ADHD, high performer. Like, my Saturday will just be gone doing out the trash, doing landscaping, smoking some steak, right? And I'm going to give my son 2 seconds of his time, right? I'm not going to rebound for him. So
I love that. That's really good.
I try to rebound.
Yeah.
I always rebound for my son. I always rebound for him, because it's like, why wouldn't you rebound for your son? Someday that hoop's going to be pretty quiet. So yeah. I'm the rebound dad. But I also like to shoot. So we do two. You know what two is? I invented two. This is a good one. This is good for any dad, anybody that likes hoops. You make two. If you miss two in a row, I get to shoot until I miss two in a row, and then you get to shoot.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a 2-2 thing. Yeah. And again, you can't take layups, right? Or whatever. You just got to work on your shot.
What's your high score?
We did do high score for a while. Yeah, we did that. I think I made like 18 or 19 in a row.
Okay.
Threes, so. Oh, I can shoot, dude.
I just pictured you saying, Marcus, I'll rebound for you, and all of a sudden Joel's out there shooting, and Marcus says rebound.
Well, that's how we invented two. I'm like, okay, Dad's got to get some shots in. Yeah, I'm a chucker. I'm an all-time chucker. I can still chuck it a little bit.
Before we ask you the Billboard, I want to know, because I don't think I've ever asked you this, knowing you since 2009, who was a better high school basketball player, you or J.J. Watt?
Oh, boy.
High school teammates, or what's going on? Okay.
I mean,
so you play football, playing Kewaskum?
I did not play football, okay, but I was at that
Kewaskum
game.
Kewaskum beat J.J. Watt.
Okay.
Yeah, I was at that game.
That's still talked about in Kewaskum circles.
J.J. was a good high school basketball player. Yeah. He really was.
Almost better than football in some ways, right?
I wouldn't go that far,
but he was
but like he was good. I mean, he was definitely he was a really good athlete. I mean, just all around. I was better.
Yeah,
I was better. I was a better player, but. It wasn't a big margin.
I mean, I'm not close enough to get to him to verify, but
but he was a good player,
yeah.
And like he would obviously, if he was sitting here, he would say that he was better,
sure.
Which is what makes him who he is, and makes the thing about sports great. But like he definitely could play. Like he was a very solid. Like he could have played, continue to play basketball too if he wanted.
But he wasn't a super freak. He wasn't like YouTube Bo Jackson guy.
Not yet.
He wasn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. You played with him, so tell me if he was. But like, I've seen a little film of the Kewaskum game, and it was like, okay, he's not like one of them guys where you watch film and you're like, dude.
No, he kind of jumped out. It was later, right?
Yeah, his habits and his consistency and his mentality. Honestly,
did you see that early on?
Oh yeah. I mean, he's a very, like, everything that you read about him, everything you see, like, he's very driven, he's very disciplined, like, very consistent. And
it was always like a different dude. Like your clock works a little different.
Yep.
And again, that's good to all those kids listening, and not that we have any kids listening, but again, you got to be different, man. You got to set it. You got to figure it out.
Yeah, no, he's the type of person that you surround yourself with, and you're going to become a better person.
Right. And again, he still had the skills. He had the genetics to do it, right? So he wasn't a mouse.
Right.
Okay.
So what would be your billboard? You got one billboard. It's on 94, 41, whatever busy highway you want everybody to see. What your mantra would be, and what would it kind of stand for? What's on your brain?
I thought about this a little bit, and there's a lot of different directions I was thinking about. And as the conversations kind of went to, I
haven't been this excited about a billboard in a hot minute.
Really?
I'm just curious what Taylor came up with. I really am.
I think keeping it simple, I would just go make an impact. I thought about keep perspective. I thought about consistency is the key, awareness, acceptance.
He needs
action.
One of billboards where
I need like a pretty big. I don't know if I can put one.
You need that one where it's like the billboards like go after each other. You need to rent like 6 billboards.
Yeah, I don't know if I have just like one.
You didn't land on one, but if you did land on one, it was make an impact.
I think make an impact because
let's talk about that.
I think it's all encompassing, right? I think like sitting here today, I know both of you guys inviting me here. You've made an impact on me. Like this has helped me. Hopefully it's good for somebody else out there. Like somebody else is listening and they took a nugget that helped them in their life. Just being in the world, right? Like we're surrounded by people, we're going to different places, and if you can just keep it as simple as when you walk into a place, when you interact with somebody, when you have the opportunity to interact with somebody, kind of like what you're talking about with family members and things like that, make an impact. I think it's simple. I love
that. And again, I'm a spiritual guy, so we'll kind of end it that way. That goes back to what Jesus says, right? Be the light on the world. Right, that's making an impact. Be the light.
Yeah.
Like if you think about it, in a dark room, to light up an entire dark room, all it needs is one candle. Make an impact, man. Be the light. Peace out. Absolutely. 127. We're good.
Thank you, guys.
Go Carroll. Go see the Carroll College boys. Thank you. That was awesome.
No, that was awesome. Thank you.